the link. Okay. Good, good, good. Um, I think we can start then. It's going to be super unorganized, but so be it. uh, so thanks again for doing this. We really appreciate, and we think it's a cool idea. We and since we think so, we would like to contribute to do it and benefit us by learning and doing something, having something nice in our portfolio, and you helping.
Yeah.
So, could you tell us about yourself in general?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm formerly a body piercer and tattoo artist. I did that for over 10 years and then decided to kind of pursue art full time. And that's what I do now. Um, but when I was 13, me and my older brother were in a car accident and hit by a drunk driver. Um, he didn't survive, and I ended up losing my leg. And that's kind of what inspired the charity project, and just kind of having, I've always kind of painted and decorated my own leg just to have something more unique that didn't look so kind of sterile and kind of boring. And so, um, you know, being a tattoo artist and kind of collecting oddities and stuff, I would have clients and friends kind of give me old prosthetics that they kind of found. Um, and so I had all of these random prosthetics, and so I thought, oh, what can I do with this? And I thought, oh, use them as canvas, kind of get some artist friends to kind of paint them, and we ended up doing a gallery show and auctioning them all off for charity, and we raised over $20,000 for charity to help people kind of afford prosthetics and get back on their feet. And that's kind of how the whole thing started.
Wow, that's quite a story. So people donate you prosthetics and you
Yeah,
decorate
so
them.
so it started where these were old prosthetics that would have been thrown away, because they can't be reused. And so instead of them kind of becoming trash, we figured why not make them art and kind of raise awareness for the issue about prosthetics, because especially in the U.S., even now most insurance companies have a lifetime cap on how much they will pay for prosthetics. And so once you reach that cap, if you need a prosthetic fixed or a new prosthetic, that's all kind of out of pocket expenses. And so you know, I wanted to kind of start this to kind of help kind of cover those costs and kind of, help kind of make a societal change and make people realize that, you know, um, this is, an expensive thing that, people don't think about, but it affects a lot of people. And, it's hard, to accept, the loss of a limb if you're kind of, if you can't be active anymore. And so,
Yeah.
we wanted to raise money to kind of, help people be able to afford. So all of the money from the auction went to help kind of to get people back on their feet. And now we're kind of working with prosthetic companies, and kind of having artists paint the socket part of the prosthetic for amputees so they can have like a custom kind of leg that kind of fits their personality and something that they wouldn't be afraid to show off and kind of be proud to wear.
Right. Um, so, if I understood correctly, at least before, the prosthetics that are painted on are not useful. They're just for art. Like, they're not for replacements for anyone.
Yeah, the when it originally started, it was old prosthetics that were kind of 10, 20 years old, that would have just been thrown away. And so instead of
Mm,
throwing them away, we figured let's use them as a canvas.
mm.
And so they were all kind of painted and decorated, and did a gallery show and then auctioned them off. And so those ones people have kind of in their houses, kind of as a piece of art, more of like a kind of 3D kind of canvas. Um,
Right. I see.
and so we still do that with old prosthetics, to keep them from filling up landfills and stuff. But we also are now kind of expanding to, doing wearable ones as well for people.
Um, so how old is this idea? How many? How much? How many years have you been doing it?
I started it in 2017 is when we kind of had that first initial big um, gallery show and everything. And so I've been working on it since then. Um, it's just been me, so it's kind of been hard kind of organizing it all, by myself. So it's kind of been slower kind of in progressing than I would like. I've now started to get kind of other people kind of interested in helping and running the project with me. So it's not as much kind of on my plate.
Well, you're doing a
So
good job.
thanks.
Still. All right. So, um, okay. So I understand that people donate all prosthetics for art and to sell those as art pieces. And I guess any people can just buy them as a sort of decoration.
Yeah.
And recently you said you started also um just having normal prosthetics that are decorated that fit
Yeah.
people's personalities. How does that work?
So we've had, after doing that first batch with the old prosthetic, I've had a lot of other kind of amputees contact me and ask about kind of getting, um, you know, work done on their prosthetic. And so we kind of teamed up with a few different prosthetic companies, where they'll make the socket part and kind of give it to us. And then, I'll find an artist that I kind of would do a good job at what the person's wanting. And so then that to, I'll send the socket to them and they'll kind of paint and um, we'll kind of coat it so then the paint kind of and stuff won't chip. And then we kind of send it back to the or the prosthetic company, and they'll put it on the leg. Um, so it becomes wearable again. Um, and
Um,
so we just started doing that just because it helps kind of make it easier to kind of you know not be afraid to show off a prosthetic if it's something that reflects you. That's something that now becomes a part of you because there's something you can show off and something that you like to see. It doesn't become something that you're kind of shy about or feel you want to hide.
right. So personalized prosthetics is another thing. Personalized prosthetics, um, and I still didn't follow the whole process of personalization. So people just order, let's say, I guess they have a prosthetic that they want, and they show that prosthetic to you, and You said you do it on a socket?
Yeah, so on a prosthetic, the socket part is the part that the residual limb goes into, and so we'll work with,
Oh,
um, we don't do it for everyone. We kind of work with their local prosthetic companies, because to see if they, if they're willing to donate the making of a socket, and send it to us so we can get it painted, and then we'll send it back. We do it that way, um, just because there are some prosthetic companies who, aren't willing to donate that time. But even the socket alone, uh, that the residual limb or stump, if you want to call it, goes in, those can cost $500 to $2,000 alone. So we kind of try and work with prosthetic companies that'll kind of donate that time to, and you know that work to the um, client, you know, and then we kind of are able to do it that way.
okay. Uh, but anyways, there are options. Some people just buy it, give you a socket that you decorate, and then which you later on send to the prosthetics company to mount it on the actual prosthetic, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Um, so prosthetics company sometimes donates it, sorry, mm, socket. So there are companies specifically for sockets making, right?
no, usually like the person making the prosthetic, they kind of make the whole thing. So the socket is kind of what fits the prosthetic leg
Mm-hmm.
um, to the amputee. So, when you're putting together the leg, you kind of make a mold of the residual limb and make the socket around that so it fits. And so, the companies making the legs kind of put it all together usually.
All right.
And you paint the socket, right?
Yeah, yeah, we paint it and then we kind of coat it to protect the paint so it doesn't just kind of flake off, or wear down over time.
Okay.
And after you've painted it and put the protective layer on, you send it back to the amputee.
Yeah, we send it back to the prosthetic company that's making the leg, so then they can mount it on the leg and everything.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So there is the kind of a pipeline that I see that there is that could also be kind of automated, at least in terms of notifications. Like, what's the status of a prosthetic? Like, is it
Yeah,
like socket ordered? Like, is it sent to painting? Is it done painting and waiting for it like to just be wrapped up, or is it already in the making on prosthetics? So that's also cool.
yeah, yeah. And the reason we kind of started doing it kind of directly through the prosthetic company is that way, because sometimes, with a lot of artists, um, it can take time working things. And so we didn't want, take the leg from the amputee to work on and then it be kind of months where they're kind of, without a leg. So by working with the prosthetic company, they can make an extra socket, and send us one and then put one on the leg, while
Mm-hmm.
the socket is being painted. And then once it's done, they can switch the sockets out. So then, you're not without kind of the prosthetic, for the term of time that it takes to paint and decorate it.
Okay, that is, I think, clear. Um, and in the end, the company gets the socket, mounts it, the prosthetic is done. How does that influence the price? Is it like just the same price as for a normal
Yeah,
prosthetic?
yeah, because we're kind of donating um, that work and that painting and prosthetic companies donating a laminated on a prosthetic costs about kind of $600, and that's something insurance doesn't cover because that's not a necessity. And so, and when they laminate it, it's just pretty much like a kind of sticker, or kind of like the laptop kind of
Yeah.
stickers that you can kind of get, that they put on and then put coating on. And so this way, someone can get something kind of more personalized and not um, pay out of pocket, because that's kind of what we cover. So then, they can have their own unique, without having to kind of, pay all this extra money, because prosthetics are already expensive.
Okay. I think that's clear. Um, does anyone have any more questions about this process?
So, and how do you finance yourself? Because you're donating the money or your time, actually, or do you get paid for that in any way to compensate?
Yeah, I don't take any pay. We kind of help fund doing this through like the auction of the kind of old legs, and that money kind of will go to kind of people get prosthetics, but then we'll also use part of to cover the cost of like the shipping of the kind of sockets back and forth, and um, you know help kind of cover supplies and stuff when needed. Um,
Right.
but for me, being an amputee myself, like art saved my life and helped me a lot. So I just get satisfaction kind of using art to help others. So I don't take any pay. I just do this kind of, you know, as my kind of as a kind of project that's kind of close to my heart.
That's really cool what you do and the idea. I think.
I agree.
Um, any more questions from anyone? Uh, all right. So I asked to post a few questions from anyone who wants to know more. So here are the questions.
Okay.
Um, is it going to be? I understand you're from USA, and is it going to be a USA based thing? Is it like potentially expanding anywhere else?
It would be nice to expand outside of the U.S. But right now we're just kind of U.S. based, and it's just because the way insurance is here and everywhere else is so different, and so it makes, and then shipping the sockets and stuff internationally, especially from the U.S., kind of gets super expensive. So it'd be nice if kind of in the future we have kind of um, little places in different countries that are kind of doing the same idea.
Mm.
But in terms of like this project, it's primarily just like U.S. based. But something that I could always, if there's someone in like the UK who's interested, I can always kind of see about putting them in touch with an artist in the UK and kind of doing it that way. But in terms of you know getting a socket and kind of painting it and sending it back, um, just the international part makes it hard.
Right, that's true. Uh, mm, 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 mm. I think that's about all that does not yet have been asked. Um, what else? Could you tell us about the incident? You said you actually had the website before, but something
Yeah,
happened to it.
yeah. So I had found someone who was willing to. Um, they were kind of an acquaintance who was willing to kind of do a kind of website for us, like a basic um, website that would have like just information and kind of gallery, everything, and then when after we did the auction and raised this money to cover the cost of prosthetics and help others, the person who did the website then wanted a percentage of that money. And when I said no, like, because that was never the agreement, he had volunteered to do it for free. um, he then kind of took the website hostage and said that if we didn't pay, he would kind of delete the website. And I wasn't going to give in to that. I was doing this for charity, and so all that money was going to go to charity. And so the website ended up kind of getting deleted, and he kind of took hostage of the passwords, everything,
Yeah,
and changed it all.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So the website initially, the one that was there was just static contact, I imagine. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a real kind of basic
Mm,
kind of site.
okay. Um. Um. So now a bit more into detail. Uh, let's start from a more interesting thing. So you said that you would like either a website or an app for drawing on prosthetics.
Yeah, I thought it would be kind of fun in a way to help raise awareness for it. Having an app that would have like a mock-up of a prosthetic that people could kind of draw on, you know, on in the app, just um, you know, to kind of help with kind of name recognition and recognition of the project. Something that was kind of different and fun.
Right. So when you say app, do you have like a mobile app in mind, or is it still a web page?
Yeah, I was thinking kind of like a kind of mobile app, but if there's a way to do it, as a web app too.
Probably. I see no reason why it couldn't be both as well. Of course, extra effort, but I think we have
Yeah,
people. So drawing app on prosthetics, and you pick prosthetic as a canvas.
yeah.
How do you know what's available? Like, how do you know what selection of prosthetics is available? Where does that come from? Where would it come from?
That, like, in terms of for like the app, generally, like, I can show you pictures of like the kind of legs that we used, as canvas for the auction. Um, and those are more kind of they're more of the cosmetic legs. They have like cosmetic covers, and so they're more kind of um, like fiberglass, or kind of more kind of wood, with that kind of shape of a kind of standard kind of leg. They don't have like the kind of uh,
Uh,
more of the high tech type look
um,
to them.
if you have any pictures, you can post to non-profit channel. I pinged you there.
Okay, yeah,
If
I
you
can do
have
that.
pictures, thanks. Okay, and the meanwhile, organize already what we have. But this is very good. I think it's
Uh,
gone.
I think the drawing app is supposed to be just for fun. It's not for the actual drawing
Yeah,
the prosthetics,
yeah,
right?
yeah, just for fun. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Um. o- So
yeah. I was
you don't want the
yeah,
design to be on? Like you wouldn't want the option for the design to be saved and then posted, submitted to the
yeah. I
artist?
mean, because I mean, you could definitely use that as a kind of template to give an idea to the artist of what they're looking for, in terms of design. But in terms of like, you know, using that and then printing, getting that kind of made on a leg. Like the hard thing is each leg is made kind of custom, so it's hard to have like a standard kind of like you know paint on this and then we're drawing this and then this will be then made into the prosthetic. Like that makes it harder just because each one is kind of completely custom, if that makes sense.
Yes. So, what's the purpose of the app? Like, what benefit would it give to the whole thing?
I was thinking just kind of help raise awareness for the charity,
Right.
and kind of get the name out there. You know, people find out more about it, through the app.
Right. Okay. Um. Okay. Would the app, I don't know, have an ability to, let's say, share the uh, drawings, let's say, in the same gallery, maybe in a separate section?
Yeah.
Okay. Share it in the gallery, and there are no plans for using drawings at all for even reference material for artists
Yeah.
designing.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely be used,
Okay.
to help give an idea to the artist of what the amputee's looking for. So yeah, they can definitely be kind of, so then that way the artist has a kind of idea, you know, visually of what they're looking for.
Let's look at the legs, the prosthetics, and those look, holy crap, so much better than I imagined.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a bunch of like professional
Wow.
photo ones as well.
Wow. It's art.
Yeah.
It's 100%.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to make it kind of let the artists kind of do whatever they wanted. They each had about 6 months with the legs, so they could kind of you know put their all into it and not have to rush.
It looks really good. So how much does, let's say, one piece cost in an auction?
It depended on the artist. The last leg that I just sent, um, with that monster face, that artist, his name is Chet Zar. He used to do things with movies, so he did all of the special effects for like the Hellboy movies, and he's done a lot of stuff with the band Nine Inch Nails and Tool with their music videos, and now he's a painter. So he did that leg, and that leg alone sold for $3,000
Oh
in
shit.
auction.
That's really good.
And so yeah, they all depended on the artist. The leg before that with the little kind of paintings and stuff on, that one went for like, that's by, her name's Mab Graves, who did that leg, and this one went for like 2,000. And so it all depended on the artist, but the kind of bigger name artist ones kind of definitely sold for higher.
All right, that's really good. So about the app, am I missing something, or is it all that I wrote? So it's an app initially just for fun, like you can sketch on a canvas that you select.
Yeah.
And it's mostly for raising awareness, and could be potentially used for exporting it to a gallery, could be used as a reference. What would be the minimum product for the app? Is it drawing that would be enough?
Yeah, I was thinking kind of like drawing, but then a area where that would have information about the project and what the project does.
Mm-hmm.
So like an about, and then kind of like a contact through the app too. Um, as well as kind of a link to
Right.
like the website and other information.
Right. Um, okay. Okay. Um, uh, One step back, maybe. How are you marketing yourself at the moment? How are you, I don't know, spreading awareness that you're doing something like that?
I've been I've a lot of um what you call I've a lot of promotional stuff like stickers and stuff. So I right now I've been just kind of going to different and contacting different prosthetic companies, um, and putting it out there like, hey, if you are willing to kind of help out with this by providing a socket, and someone, you have a client that you think deserves something cool, just let us know. And um, so we've been kind of going that route. And then I have kind of friends in the tattoo industry as well who kind of have been helping out and raising awareness. And one of the tattoo artists that is now kind of becoming involved in the project, he was on the TV show Ink Master, and he recently lost part of his legs. He's now kind of, um, you know, he was in favor of the project and liked the idea of the project before, but now that it has become more personal, he's definitely kind of really interested. Um, and so, we're kind of trying to build up that way, kind of by raising awareness.
Hillhunter Mass asked, do you have
Yeah.
photos of usable prosthetics?
I do somewhere. I think I have them on a USB drive. I don't have those ones on my phone.
All right. For
But I'll have
future, yeah.
I'll have my new computer tomorrow, so I should be able to kind of get them um, off the USB and kind of posted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh, that's cool. Um, so, uh, so you contact a company and so what do they do next? You go on a prosthetics company. Do they have a section where they like advertise you? I don't see the full picture yet.
No, so they will like, it's kind of more on like an individual basis. So, if they, will kind of go and talk to them about the project and what we do, and let them know if they have a client that they think would really enjoy or kind of benefit. um,
Right.
then we'll kind of work. Me and the prosthetic company will work together to get that socket made, sent for shipping. While they make a regular socket. In the meantime, while the legs, while the socket's being painted, and then once it's done, they kind of um, change the sockets out and put the new one on. So it's more kind of an individual basis when they find someone that they think kind of deserves it, or kind of deserves something special, you know. Um, so it's kind of like they'll nominate someone and kind of we'll work
Right.
together to help them.
Right. So basically, your marketing is all based on recommendations and word of mouth, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. For now, like we don't have any kind of like, um, where you know we've had kind of amputees kind of contact us directly, but then it's hard kind of working, trying to find a prosthetic in their or company in their area that would be willing to work this way. So that's why we've kind of gone to prosthetics or companies ourselves, and kind of worked with them for them to kind of find someone that they would be willing to donate time and stuff with.
Okay. So this website and the app is a lot for marketing, for getting the missing, not the missing, but I guess uncharted area of potential
Yeah.
exposure. Okay. Back to the auction, I have a question. What is do artists get anything, or they're also just donating their work pretty much?
Yeah, they all just donated their time and everything. So no one made with the auction, no one made any money. It all got kind of donated and kind of used for the project, but
Mhm.
no money went into anyone's pockets, or it was all just kind of everyone volunteering their time. And
Right. How, so let's say a company recommends you a person, and then let's say there are 10 people, I guess, in the line waiting for a personalized prosthetic. I'm not sure how well, maybe you can tell how big is the flow of people, like how many people, let's say, ask you to create a prosthetic for you.
yeah, I mean, we working with the prosthetic companies kind of um, directly. We've kind of only done for the wearable ones like kind of three a year, and so it hasn't been that big. Uh, and so they will kind of um, have someone, and they'll will talk about kind of the art that they like, the kind of style that they like, the things that they like. And then I have a lot of artists that I'm friends with, and that I've met through doing the project with the auction, who have said that they would be interested in kind of doing more and kind of doing wearables. So then I'll put, I'll kind of match up what the amputee was wanting in terms of style and look to someone that I think would do a good job. So there's never like an artist who has like three legs that they're trying to do at the same time. It's always each one has one that they're working on. If that
Uh,
makes any sense. I don't know how well I described that.
so I'll just double check. Did I hear correct? Three prosthetics a year, last year or a year?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of what we've kind of been doing with the kind of prosthetic companies.
How much is one prosthetic again on average?
So a whole entire prosthetic leg can be anywhere from 5,000 on up to $100. Um, so it all depends on like how high tech and how advanced the leg is.
So the
Um,
cheapest is.
the very cheapest bare bones is kind of $5,000-10,000.
Oh my god.
Um, but then if you get like start getting into the high tech legs, they cost more than how with like 150 to $200,000.
Okay, I see. Prosthetic.
But the sockets alone, can cost anywhere from 500 to kind of $2,000-3,000, just for the socket part.
500 to 3,000. 3,000 for sock. Okay.
How would you handle if you get more people wanting prosthetic?
That's like why I've been kind of trying to recruit people and kind of find people who want to help kind of grow the project, and be involved, because it's hard kind of right now. It's just been me, so and a few other people who help here and there. It's been hard to kind of really go out there as much. I've have now more and more people kind of wanting to get involved and wanting to help run the project. So by kind of doing that, we'd be able to expand, to help other people as well,
And
because there'd be
like,
more people kind of, running and being the
would you like
points.
the website to be a place where people could come together for that as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if there's a way of kind of, if people want to express interest in kind of being involved, that would be cool.
Have you considered making I don't know, a community for it, like a Discord server maybe, a
Yeah, I mean,
subreddit or something?
yeah, I've thought about. I'm not. I'm more kind of like, um, I'm bad at kind of like being the leader, kind of like a group. I'm more kind of like, you know, um, kind of more comfortable, kind of doing it kind of alone for a while and having people who kind of are all on equal footing. So
Mm.
I haven't kind of thought about doing uh, like a subreddit or something, just because being kind of like the leader, kind of, and running it all with kind of people underneath, like that just kind of intimidates me. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand.
Who will be running the website though?
I mean, like the website, I would kind of, because it's not kind of, you know, interacting, you know, like face to face with people or kind of comments. Like, I'm perfectly fine kind of, doing emails and stuff and responding to things back and forth. It's just, when you have like, threads with everyone talking at once and trying to get things kind of, organized and stuff, is where the kind of intimidation and stuff comes in.
So the website should not require a lot of management.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as long as it's, the management is fine. Um, in terms of just, responding to people and kind of, keeping things up to date, like that's easy. But it's the kind of, when it gets to kind of, um, you know, like Discord or Reddit, when there's lots of people kind of talking all at once, kind of trying to keep things organized and, keep people from, you know, arguing and kind of all that, is when it gets kind of intimidating.
Right. So going to a website, I'll just summarize what I have so far about it. So you said it's a website with a gallery, info, and forms for artists to submit to be part of the charity project,
Yeah.
and uh, and and the same form. So okay, so for artists, and let's stop at there. Um, so what do you expect a bit in more detail? I understand gallery where they can submit their art and people can publicly view it. What so I imagine they would need to be registered users for submitting art for that.
Yeah, so for that, for the submitting, it was thinking more like when we have old prosthetics and kind of do the fundraiser again to raise the money, having artists who want to be involved, then that way when we have the legs, we can kind of look at artists who kind of submitted and look at their work, and choose artists that way to kind of um, get involved in the kind of auction phase, of having the old prosthetics painted and then auctioned off. So it was more kind of somewhere where they can kind of, where like an open artist call, like a casting call, but more of an open artist call. So, a forum where they can kind of submit pictures of their work so we can see kind of what they do, to see if they would fit into, um, being part of a gallery show and stuff.
Okay, so a gallery where artists can submit their work. And would that work be literally just prosthetics or something more?
No, it'd be like where they would submit their kind of like paintings or other art, and then when we have um, like the old prosthetics for when we do the fundraiser for choosing some smaller artists to kind of get involved, so we can look at their portfolio and choose ones that we think would be a good um, place. So like the gallery would be something that would just be viewable for us because it's just a regular artwork. It wouldn't be like for the submission from the artist. It wouldn't be like a kind of publicly viewed gallery, of artwork. If that makes any sense.
Mm, it does as a requirement, but I'm thinking, why don't you want to make it public? Or maybe you want to filter out the very best to make that visible as public?
Yeah, well, we would have like a public gallery, like current artists and the legs that they do in their artwork, but just for random people to kind of submit
Right,
their art, that wouldn't be kind of in the public gallery,
right.
until that they've been selected to paint
Awesome.
a leg.
So essentially, it's two galleries, one for just you or maybe someone else who is also an admin to pick
Yeah,
who is a good artist. Like basically, apply for being an artist through submitting your artwork.
yeah,
Okay. Submitting artwork in order to apply for actual gallery, public gallery. Work in private. Okay, in private gallery. Um, two galleries, public and private. Private used to pick as a submission space. Is a submission space. Okay. So you then pick stuff in public gallery, um, and it displays. Does it display like the best artists' works, and can it still display work that is non-prosthetic, or public would be strictly prosthetics?
I think like the public gallery would kind of show the prosthetic that the artist did, but then also a few of their kind of non-prosthetic work, just so people can see art, you and
Right. Uh,
for a part of a little gallery of their work, so people can kind of find out about them as well.
so could you repeat that? It would include different kind of art.
Yeah, so it would include like the leg the artist did, as well as a few pieces of art, of their kind of regular
Mm,
paintings, so people can, see their kind of work, and a way of, having a little kind of um, gallery for
right.
them, as a way of kind of and helping them get recognition.
Yeah.
You know,
Awesome. I
and
see.
how,
So basically a focus on prosthetics, but
behind,
around prosthetics there would be, sorry, shuttering. Uh, can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay. So a public gallery to show prosthetics, but also a reference to. Uh, so would it, mm, like I imagine that if someone submits art, it would, um, like, would ratio matter? How much of general art do you display, or would you display on like a bigger part of the pictures that you display would be prosthetics?
yeah. I think most of the pictures would be prosthetics. Like I picture kind of a gallery that has the legs, and when you click the leg, the picture enlarges, and then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of to the picture of the leg has 3 thumbnails of paintings that artist who did that leg did,
Yeah.
with the artist's name. So then, and having it kind of that way instead. So then you just see the leg until you click on it, and then you see more about like who the artist is, and then 3 thumbnails of kind of non-prosthetic that they've painted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually had the exact same image in my head.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that's clear. So you have a public gallery. Um, would you like people to, I don't know, give it a like for a picture that they liked,
Yeah,
or an artist that they liked?
yeah, that would be cool. Just being able to kind of give it a like, or kind of be able to kind of do this, share it on social media and stuff.
Okay. Um, and would that be something? How would you pick what gets shown on the top at the top, or like what gets shown at what place? Would you have it completely randomized every time you open it, or would it be based on most likable at the top?
Um, I guess I never maybe. Yeah, I guess I never thought about how it be organized. I guess the easiest way might be, in the future in terms of adding things to it would be um, by um, just kind of like the newest kind of at the or at the bottom, but it kind of
Okay.
done by date instead of
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe multiple ways to do it.
Filters.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yeah.
filters.
That would be good.
Okay, just something to think about. This we don't care
Yeah.
about very details at the moment, but the idea is clear. So we have art gallery, and that's one big piece of the website. The second piece would be um, a bunch of forms that you'd like. Could you tell us about the info forms? What sections would that involve?
Yeah. So I was just thinking like two, mainly two forums, like one for artists to fill out who want to get involved, and part of that form would be like uploading,
Ooh,
3 pictures,
yeah.
from their portfolio so we can see the type of art that they do. And the other form would be for either like prosthetic companies if they have someone that they would like to nominate, or if there's an amputee who's interested, that way we can get their information, and kind of see about kind of putting them in touch with a um, prosthetic company and artist that way. But then that way, we have kind of a database of information, so we can kind of when looking for new people to kind of do legs, we have a database that we can kind of contact.
Okay, so you said two forms, but I see it as three forms. Well, one separate one completely is for artists, another one for companies, and third one I see as one for amputees.
Yeah, I was thinking like the companies and amputees kind of, where for the companies, if they have someone they want to nominate, it being kind of like that same type of form. But I guess maybe it would be easier to do it as 3 forms.
So the purpose of amputee contact form would be the same as company, which is like as amputee, you would say that you have a prosthetic that you'd like to donate, right?
Yeah, or want to kind of, when there's opening to have like a custom kind of socket, wanting to be part of that,
Right.
process too.
Uh, yeah, then definitely. I guess we could summarize like a donation form would be one. and so it would be for companies or individuals, doesn't matter. And another one would be for requests, like I would like to, get a prosthetic.
Yeah.
Okay. Prosthetic request form. And maybe it could be, hooked with the, well, it doesn't matter much, but you could also potentially post an image with it, but that's details, doesn't matter. So prosthetic request form. Okay. Right. Now, have you thought about section for feedback where, I don't know, people just write something in a website as a way of a thank you, or just express what they think about the idea, and it would get, I don't know, randomized in some page, like, or yeah. Have you thought?
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. I hadn't thought about it, but kind of having that where, people can kind of give feedback, that stuff, seems like a good idea, and kind of gets more people involved.
All right.
Should get moderated before.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Shouldn't be
Yeah, like
anyone.
approve comments.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So you wouldn't. So would would how do you imagine of the process of back to the gallery? Let's say some artist submits an application to become referenced by the website. How do you imagine uh, the process of accepting them? Like, would you read through the application, look at their art, then you just, I don't know, click a button, accept or deny, or would that be completely manual, and you would choose to add their, like, artwork in the website separately, or would you imagine that to be automated as well?
Yeah, I imagine it being more completely manual. And then, after they kind of did a leg, then they would be kind of, put into the public gallery. But the kind of for submitting is just, so we have, when needed, a database of artists, and we can kind of look at their work and look at their kind of experience as an artist to make sure that they would be kind of responsible enough, to not kind of get lazy and, never do,
Right.
it when they paint, but just be able to have a bio so we can kind of see, kind of how serious, they are and professional they are as well.
So you the process would be this: you confirm an artist, then basically it gets into a pile of artists that you like, I guess, and then you do a background check, like what's their artwork, are they reliable, and after that you say, okay, I'll manually input that person in like I'll let them know that they're chosen, and I'll ask them to send the work that they actually did for the let's say some socket, and I'll ask for some reference art as well, and then I'll post that when they have the full package. Like, okay, that's clear. So so basically it would never be an immediate thing unless they send you right away the uh, um, art on prosthetics. Okay, so for general artists, you would need to verify if they are actually still, well, if they actually send Send the art on prosthetics. And so you like the artist, would you contact them and say, hey, so I like your art, if you want to be referenced, you will need to do something?
Yeah, yeah, like artists that I think, potential to be good, that we like, be able to contact them and say, hey, do you mind if we kind of put you in our database kind of for future,
Okay.
for when we need like future artists.
Okay. And then when you have a, that's still risky. I see it though. Like if you, let's say, how would they actually draw on a prosthetic? Like would you actually send them the socket that they would draw on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if once we kind of once they're in our database and we have someone who and the socket and we have someone who needs art done, then we would choose from the database the artist to do it and then send it to them to paint.
Socket paint on. Is there any risk? Well, of course, there's always risk that it would, I don't know, they would just steal it, as ridiculous as it sounds, but
yeah, and that's why we would kind of want to make sure like that the kind of artists who are submitting are more of that kind of um, more professional artists that kind of tend to have a following and kind of do art professionally, because then they're less likely to do something like that, because then that would reflect badly on them and kind of galleries that they show at and stuff, and their followers wouldn't approve of that. Whereas if it's someone who just does art as a hobby, I think they're more likely to just not paint the
right,
socket and keep it.
right. In Okay. In any case, you would respond to the submission via, I guess, email, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Respond via email. Okay. So background check and so on. Okay. How do you know that? How would, what would a person who requests a prosthetic, what would that person need to do to prove that he indeed needs it and he's not a scammer?
Well, that comes into play when it comes to working with the prosthetic company, because they would need to go to the prosthetic company to be fit for a socket. And so if they're scamming, there's no way that they could be fit for a socket, and so that would just kind of end it.
So prosthetic company does the check on in every individual before they do anything.
Yeah, because they need to make the socket.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
yeah.
Okay, that's great. And I think I forgot to ask, so someone, the lucky guy who gets the prosthetic, is it like 100% price covered and donated for him? He doesn't have to pay anything?
Well, it depends on the um, prosthetic company. Like, so if for instance, like their insurance could cover the leg, but not the, but their insurance wouldn't cover the cost of the socket, and so they wouldn't have to pay for that cost because that's something that we're doing. Or the prosthetic company sometimes will donate a whole leg to someone, So, but in terms of the actual socket, that's something that they don't have to pay for. The rest is dependent on the prosthetic company and the insurance.
Right. So it depends on insurance. Um,
and the company on how, because we've had some where the company has just kind of donated the whole entire leg, and didn't charge them anything, whereas some where insurance covered, but then so they didn't have to pay anything because of insurance, but we still kind of provided, the cost and the everything for the socket.
right. And the normal thing, like the usual thing, is the socket cover. That the money is covered for socket.
Yeah. It'd be nice in the future if we're able to raise enough that we can just kind of cover the cost of the kind of entire leg.
Right.
But that'll have to wait till we're kind of a kind of 501c3 charity where we're kind of completely tax deductible and everything, so people can kind of donate that way, and then that would make it a lot easier to kind of pay the full price, for people for prosthetics.
Right. Okay, back to the website. Is there anything else? You mentioned a gallery, and the gallery part is very clear to me. And then the 3 forms for, the 3 forms for artists to apply, for a prosthetic company, or amputee submit a donation, which would be just something that you would check manually. It wouldn't ever be money. It would be a prosthetic.
Yeah.
Okay. Prosthetic donation. Or socket. Prosthetic/socket. Okay. And then prosthetic request form. And that could be literally anyone. But would it require right away that you have been checked and approved by a prosthetics company? Or
not right away.
Okay.
That's something that we would kind of get into kind of down the line if they're selected. So, because that way, like a family member or a friend could kind of nominate someone, and then
Right.
If chosen, we can kind of, work with it down the line once we find like a prosthetic company close to them that would be willing to kind of be involved.
So imagine this goes out of the roof, explodes, and you get like hundreds of emails every day. What would you do?
That I would try and just give a kind of pre-written response, to them saying, thanks for, your interest, we only have so many we can do a year, but we will kind of keep you in mind.
Okay.
And kind of keep you as part of our database.
Again, it's something that is a nice to have that could also be just automated. Like if you don't reply in a given time, you would fire an email that says what you just said. Okay.
Yeah.
Feedback, then email. No reply in X time. Okay. Right. Now, that is a kind of submission forms. So it's something that will actually go to database. But now about the auction itself, about, I don't know, more about the idea, the project, the story behind it. I imagine that would also be a part of a website.
Yeah, kind of like a info, like about page.
Um, okay, so info section. So what exactly would you like there in info section? What would it
Um,
be?
it would just be kind of like a there'd be like a mission statement of kind of what we hope to accomplish, and a little kind of like about in terms of like how it started and
How it
that kind of
started,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe some success stories, like someone who benefited, who is happy, who wishes to say thank you.
yeah, or kind of like comments of the artists involved that kind of you know um, had fun or really enjoyed being part of it.
Right. What else? Uh, um, what? Um, okay, so basically those forms are contacts, and this is info section, and this is gallery. Gallery, info section. Okay. Uh, right. And okay. Um, More details can follow, doesn't matter. Back to the gallery. Do you imagine you would act like an admin of a website and you could, I don't know, through a panel, a dashboard, add art that you like and in general manage the content there in an easy
Yeah,
way?
yeah, yeah. If it was kind of easy, I would definitely do that.
Okay. Manage art, manage info sections. Basically, those two things I imagine you would need to manage. Okay. Um, would anyone like would artists themselves, let's say you definitely approve, like maybe there is um let's say an artist submitted his artwork and his status is uh, let's say request sent, and let's say you check his art and you like it, and then you say, okay, this artist is put to pending, I'll do a background check sometime, right?
Yeah,
And let's say you did the background check and completely confirmed him, like, so his status is confirmed. Would maybe that mean that they get to post their artwork on the website, or would you still pick it yourself?
I would still kind of wait till they were done um, the socket, before kind
Okay,
of posting it.
so concept of membership wouldn't really exist. Like, you wouldn't need to register for the website in order to use it in any way. You could just submit some forms for requests or donations, or let's say you're an artist, but you wouldn't need to be like, there wouldn't be a registration form, a login form, and like any that wouldn't be needed.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Back to the app. I think about the website, it's clear. Now back to the app. So draw. Okay. Could maybe app integrate in the website as a separate, like, it wouldn't make sense if it was in the same gallery as, like, as artists, professional artists made,
Yeah.
but maybe it could be like just r- random people who just publish their art.
Yeah. You know, like on a website, we could have a gallery of the kind of drawings from the app that have like the most likes, you know, feature them on the website.
Right, but how would you get the likes if it needs to be on the gallery?
Yeah, I guess, for the separate gallery, like, I guess, you know, the app, if they're sharing it, if there's a way of kind of seeing which ones get shared or liked the most, you know, using that way. But I'm not sure how that works, so I don't know much
Okay,
about like coding and all that.
it's okay. It's just something that we like. You just need to tell high level what you want, and we'll figure it out
Okay.
for you. So
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe like a separate gallery for the app, where it says kind of,
yeah.
most liked, like drawings from the app, so then they get kind of featured.
Okay, so in the app itself, you could also see just app specific drawings.
Yeah.
Okay. Commit. Okay. Submit. Okay. I think it's clear for me. I have a full picture. Do you guys have any questions?
That was pretty clear for me.
Okay.
Yep. Um. Uh, so before we wrap this up, I'll just say that we'll try to work in an agile way, and what that means is that every 2 weeks we'll strive to make a prototype, something that
Okay.
works, and add work incrementally on top of that. Something that works might not be, let's say, a website per se right away. It might be,
Yeah.
let's say, an API where you can post something or and exchange stuff. So anyways, anything that can be demoed in some way is what we will try to do every 2 weeks. And
Okay.
in an agile way, your role will be a product owner, more like just a client who just looks and says if he likes it or not, and potentially gets called out when we need more info when we start working on specific parts of it,
Okay.
to just refine whatever we have and just ask questions for specific details. But
Yeah.
that will be in late future.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. And for your interest, we'll be using C Sharp, React, and we'll just start from a lot of planning. So the first 2 weeks, there will be definitely nothing to show other than plans. But
Yeah.
we plan to uh, design, give a sketch or a design. It's called wireframe. Um, so how a website would look like, how an app would look like, at least that.
Okay.
So then you can say what you think, adjust. So there will be a lot of planning, and then we'll work.
Sweet.
Do you have questions? Any questions for us, maybe?
Not that I can think of. I think kind of talking to you definitely helped kind of any questions I did have.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just say that we are a community that is relatively, I don't know if it's new or not. We were we I created this community roughly 2 years ago, and the sole purpose of it at the time was to just have a place where I could teach people programming C#
Nice.
for free, and um, and that I don't think went that well. Like my lessons and stuff, like it didn't have that much interest eventually, but with me came other people and more people who were much better than me, and it just became an educational community where
Nice.
people can ask their questions, we can answer them, help them with their programming questions, and basically educational programming community. And now we have roughly 5,000 members,
Oh wow.
and um, yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, and now it's an ongoing C# bootcamp, and it's roughly 4 or 5 months in, and the problem is that we haven't yet went to working with web, like with designing web, with programming web. We just know I've only taught language,
Yeah.
like intermediate, basic and intermediate stuff. So that part will have to be something that they'll need to do by themselves with the help of mentors, given the
Yeah.
material. So it might take a while, but there are other people also from other community who are also a semi-professional professionals, young professionals who are also willing to help in terms of a front-end design.
Okay.
So that's good. All right, so I think roughly there are 10 people who are interested in making this, so they're people.
Sweet.
All right.
Cool.
Um,
Sweet. Yes.
Thanks for attending, for joining, for talking, for presenting your
Okay.
idea. It was really cool.
Yeah. Sorry, it kind of took a few days to kind of finally sit down and talk.
Really, no problem. It's really fine.
Okay. Cool.
Right. So one more thing. Now I'll officially just create a repository for that thing, and I'll call it Painted Prosthetics, the project name. README will follow, it's public. License will be Apache. Oops. Wait, how's it called? Oh, that's Git ignore. Visual Studio. Visual Studio license Apache. Okay. So this means basically that it's all the code is visible to public, but you cannot own, like nobody can own this code. Like if people,
Okay.
let's say, would say, hey, this project is making money, I'll just patent this and make it my own, they cannot do that.
Okay.
All right, so the start of project I just created, and we'll start on working with it. And I already just wrote about our conversation, what I managed to found. I wrote 3 pages so far about
Cool.
the idea, about what you want, about the website and the app. And
Okay.
what will follow, just yeah, what will follow is what we will present next time when we get. So yeah, just
Okay.
no need for now.
Cool.
Okay. I'll give it a link on the channel. And this one. And I'll make this editable. Okay. So thank you again for your time, and I'll be going now. So see you
Okay.
till next, probably till in 2 weeks.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
thanks for your time, and see you
Oh,
in 2 weeks.
thank you.
No problem. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Yeah,
Well,
bye.
bye.